This is the Level Up Podcast. I'm Taylor Petrinovich.
And I'm Kelley Gilster of 618 Studios.
And we are on a mission to help filmmakers level up their businesses and their craft so they can make more and work less.
We want to help you confidently take your business from mainstream to luxury, and it all starts right here. Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us this week again and continuing the conversation. Today we are going to be talking about something that we're really thrilled about, which is pinpointing the misconceptions of the luxury market. I feel like there's quite a few. Taylor, how do you feel?
Oh yeah.
So many. And we've done various mentor sessions over the course of the years that we've been in business. And one of the biggest things that we hear from people is their hesitation to enter the luxury market because of these preconceived ideas that they feel like they have about them. So we want to be here to squash any preconceived ideas and show that the luxury market is just such a welcoming and amazing space, and there's room for everybody. So Taylor, before we get started, what do you have going on this week in your personal life?
Yeah. Well, let's see. This past weekend, we actually celebrated my 31st birthday.
Woohoo!
Yeah, I know. I feel so old. By taking the whole fam to Tahoe. So that was fun. If you're listening to this in the future, it's January right now, and it is cold and snowy, and it was great. My kids haven't really had a lot of experience with the snow, so we went sledding, we ate some good food, and then I have a 1-year-old, and she got to experience snow for the very first time, so that was fun. She was not a fan, she decided. Cold hands and refusal of wearing gloves made her not a happy camper, but we had fun anyway.
That sounds so fun. I'm actually going on a trip this weekend, opposite of the cold. We're heading out to Palm Springs to do a little 3-night vacation with my side of the family. My brother and his wife had a baby last month, so they're still on their maternity, paternity leave, and so we're taking advantage of the time they have and taking a little trip out there. So hopefully we'll get some warmer weather and some pool time, and so we're really looking forward to that.
That sounds so nice. I love traveling with family too, more people to talk to, pass the kids off to.
Totally. So many helping hands. I feel like after we had kids, we had a whole different respect for family vacations, and we look forward to them so much. So I don't know if you guys listening, if you have kids, feel the same way, but family trips when you have young ones are the way to go.
It's fun. We like to say that it's not a vacation though, because it's not super relaxing.
Oh, right. It's a trip.
It's a trip. It's a trip.
Yes. Yeah. A vacation without kids, a trip with kids.
Yes, I agree. Yes. So I agree with what you said in the intro that for people who have never experienced the luxury market, there's a lot of perceptions of it or things that people may have heard from others that may be untrue. So we're here to dispel those things for you. Kelley and I both serve that sector of the market, and we think it's amazing, and that's essentially the direction of this podcast. If you guys haven't noticed over the last few episodes, is we're really trying to cater to the filmmakers out there, or photographers if you're listening. You're welcome to, of course, but people who are wanting to get out of that entry level part of the wedding industry. You're ready to raise your prices. You're ready to serve a higher level clientele, and as you work your way up throughout the industry, you very well may find yourself serving the luxury market, but we want to encourage you that it is a really great place to be. So Kelley, let's just dive right in.
Okay, let's get started. So one of the things that we'll hear from people who are hesitant about joining the luxury market or entering into the space is that they feel like the weddings are going to be more work. Taylor, do you have any initial thoughts on this?
Yes. This is a funny one because I think that the events may be more dynamic. There will be more elements. There's going to be more going on. Many times there are multiple days of coverage and things like that. But it's really leveled out by working with a really high caliber of creative partners. And so they in turn make your job easier. I feel like a lot of kind of like lower sides of the market, like entry level, for example, like a photographer often will play wedding coordinator. They're in charge of, gathering bridesmaids and really arranging things and making sure the timeline stays timely.
On
and
track,
then essentially, then the DJ basically takes over during the reception, like with the flow of things. But as you level up, people become really, really good at their jobs, and all of these vendors know exactly where to be, what to do, and everyone takes their job really seriously. So really all you're doing is filming the wedding. You're not responsible for any of these like extra things that you may find yourself doing in like the lower like parts of the market, if that makes sense.
That's so true. I feel like, as you elevate into the luxury market, you just find that everyone is more and more of an expert in their own craft. So they're really just focused on the responsibilities that are within their realm. And there's not a lot of cross between different things. So you may even see that in the mid-level market, you may have a DJ that also is running the lighting setup, that may also be running something else, or they might be running
the photo booth or something.
The photo booth, or the cocktail hour too, where in the luxury market, that would be split up into 4 different vendors because they're experts in their craft. So you would have maybe some musicians playing for cocktail hour. A lot of times in the luxury market, you're not even working with a DJ, you're working with more of a band. But if the couple happen to have a DJ, the DJ would be just responsible for that. Lighting would be covered by a lighting company. And then the photo booth would be through a photo booth company. So I just think it just makes for such a seamless wedding day flow. And like you mentioned, Taylor, although there is more to shoot, more layers of the day, I've just found these wedding days to be a lot simpler and a lot easier.
Yeah, I definitely agree. You're not like struggling when to put up lights. Are you in a guest's way? Is your light shining in a guest's eyes? And are they going to come turn it off during toasts because they're annoyed? And then are they going to knock it down and you're liable? You know what I mean? Things like that really are not an issue for this different caliber of event. And so while you do exchange things that are hard, I do think in the end it works out in our favor. It does become actually a little bit easier as you climb levels.
Definitely. The next one that we wanted to chat a little bit about is that I think a common misconception is that clients are more difficult, that maybe the brides are a little more high maintenance, maybe the grooms expect more. I think when you're dealing with like higher paying clients and more money, it's very common to think that comes with harder responsibilities or maybe more difficult individuals. But I have definitely found that not to be the case. I found that I actually struggled a little bit more with brides who were more demanding when I was in the lower level or the mid-level myself. And then when you enter into the luxury space, I found that there's just this level of trust that you can't really find in any other sector of the market. The planner, obviously, that you'd be working with is instilling a certain amount of confidence by referring you. And then the client just feels so much more comfortable with you being there. And they're just really comfortable with how you film the day and all of that. Taylor, would you agree?
Oh my gosh, this is like one of the most important points, like I feel like to drill into everyone because 100% yes. I can't tell you how many times I was haggled when I was charging $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. That was when I got the most requests for revisions. Honestly, I haven't really had that many requests, but when I did, it was serving those clients. They were harder to please at that level. Whereas now, I'm going to be totally honest, like I typically don't even have any communication with the client directly outside of the wedding day. Typically, it's the planner going through, or them going through the planner. Planner asks me for a proposal. I send it. They give me a green light. I send the contract. They send it back. And then I'm meeting them for the very first time on the wedding day. They're just happy I'm there to do my job. And then I send the deliverables to the planner and then I am done. Like it is a very, like, for me, hands-off experience. which is great. Like, I'm gonna be honest, like some people like are in this industry because they want to be like friends with their clients, and be buddies with them. That's not really something I personally want, and it's perfect because people in the luxury space also don't want to be best friends with their vendors either. So it's a really great, very professional working relationship where I show up, do my job, and everyone's happy.
Yeah, I feel like as we entered the market too, we found it to be more of like a business transaction than like a friendship. It's very rare now that we like, I feel like in our first like 4 years of business, like we were really making friendships with our clients. Some friendships that we even have now, and there is some parts that miss that because like we experienced that for so long. But yeah, when with this luxury market, like there's just expectations that you're there as a working professional, and the clients respect that. And then in turn, I think it's important for all of us vendors to recognize like our roles in that day or that weekend, and that we are there to, you know, serve them for that weekend, the hospitality factor, but also the professional factor of, you know, getting things done and all that. And so it's a very clean relationship. I don't feel like there's any gray area. It's black and white, definitely.
Yes, absolutely. And a few episodes ago, we talked about raising your prices. And that's another thing that I think does become easier in the luxury market too. Like, no one's really negotiating prices that much. It just is what it is, and they sign on the dotted line and you're good to go. Really not a lot of pushback. So that kind of is a layer of ease that comes with the luxury market as well. The third point that we have decided on is that we think that some people believe that it's really, really hard to break into the luxury market. So they're like, why even try? Like, that's like this distant thing that is not possible for everyone. And I'm just going to say that I'm proof that that is not true.
I envy you so much because you just have had such incredible growth in the last 6 years. And I think it just goes to show that like hard work, getting in the rooms where you need to be, having face to face with other creatives that are in the level of the market that you want to be in, it's a really fast trajectory. And I feel like there's been so many filmmakers that have like 5-6 years in that are on that same trajectory. And so I don't think it's hard. I think that if anything, there's less and less competition in the luxury market too, because in the low, you know, it's like filled, kind of saturated in that lower mainstream market. Then you move up into that mid-level, even high mid-level. It fizzles out a little bit, but it's still, you know, semi-saturated. And it's I always say it's like a pyramid. So here we have the base of the pyramid in the mainstream market, and then now here we are in the mid-level, and then we move into the luxury, then we move into ultra luxury, and it just starts to like dwindle on the amount of creative professionals that find themselves there. So just because you're in the luxury market doesn't mean that there's not enough work going around. It's actually the opposite that I found in my case.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Not many people, it's like taking the road less traveled kind of thing. Like, not that many people go there, and so it's naturally going to have less competition. But also, like, to me, like, I didn't do anything super special or out of the ordinary. I don't think I'm like the most talented filmmaker in the world or have the best branding. I don't feel like I'm like the best at anything, frankly. There's a lot of people who are way better than me. But it's honestly about like following a formula. It's following a proven system and following the steps correctly. And I truly believe like anyone could get there. If you just do the steps, you will find yourself there. And that's what Kelley and I are super excited to talk about more with upcoming offerings we may or may not be coming out with in the future. I don't really know. But hopefully helping everyone else kind of reach those levels as well.
Yeah, it's just fun, and kind of they're just like really fun events too. I felt like I was more invigorated by shooting weddings in the luxury market than I was in the mid-level, low level. I kind of found another thing that people will kind of say is like, well, like I'm just stuck in a ballroom and it's super cookie cutter and like everyone's doing white flowers and greenery. And I actually found that to be the opposite. I kind of feel like clients that are luxury clients are working with planners who are at the forefront of our industry. Like they can see ahead on where the industry is moving. And then you'll start to see that the mid-level clientele and the mainstream clientele will follow suit after that. And then I think that's when it starts to get boring, because it's like almost like beating a dead horse on like how many times can we do white roses and greenery and all that, when the luxury market introduced that into the scene maybe 10 years ago. And so I feel like anytime that we're working with a really just high level planner, it seems like everything's fresh. The ideas are fresh. The concepts are just more exciting. And they just feel more customized to the client, because the planner is only working on a certain amount of weddings per year. It's not like they're like, oh, I'm doing 40 weddings. I'm checking them off the box as I go. Like they're full service planning for these clients. They get to know them, what their personalities are like, what makes their story, and building that into the design of the wedding. And so I think that's what makes it really fun. And like I said, something that just reignited my love for weddings.
I absolutely agree. It's like they're the tastemakers, and then there's this trickle down effect for everybody else. And I would say that probably most of us participating in this podcast and listening, like we would consider ourselves artists, and a lot of us are fueled by the actual thing that we're creating. And the thing that we're creating is heavily reliant on the event itself, right? Like you can only do so much with a certain event, but once events have all these dynamic elements and all this beautiful design to it, and the fashion is amazing, like I think it really opens the doors to creating much more like fulfilling art. Like you just said, like a gorgeous wedding makes it easier to create really fulfilling art. And yeah, if that's not a reason, then I don't know what else is.
Agreed, 100%.
And then I feel like one of the last barriers to wanting to break into the luxury market is honestly just not knowing that it exists in the first place. Kelley, and I were talking about this before we hit record, and I think that this is true for a lot of people, where there's this almost like before you know it and then after you know it moment, where you live in like this world where you're not aware that this luxury space is even a thing. We don't even know it exists in the world, or maybe we think that's reserved for like the Beyonce's out there. But once something clicks and you realize that these events are happening all over the place, and we have access to become the caliber of creative partners that services these kinds of clients, then like a whole world opens up, and that is reflective in the kind of work we're producing, how much we're charging, the kinds of people we get to meet and work with, and all of these things. So that's the last one. Just realizing that all of this exists and it's possible for all of us to access.
Yeah, it's almost like the market is at our fingertips. It is really crazy to think that, you know, not just the Beyoncés are having 7-figure weddings, and that the potential is there. We just have to be ready to grasp for it. And that's what Taylor and I are here to do, is help you get there. So thank you so much for joining in this conversation with us this week, and we hope that you'll join us again next week, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you for joining us in this conversation. If you enjoyed this episode, please help us reach more filmmakers just like you by taking a screenshot and sharing it on social media. Don't forget to tag us at The Level Up Co.
And join us again next week, same time, same place, as we continue to level up the industry together.